Good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. I'm Paul Clark and welcome to my studio. Now, what have I got for you lovely lot today? Well, some of you may remember that this time last year I did this line and wash of a little Victorian shop. And what came about from this, that many people use this as a Christmas gift to their loved ones, but converting it into their own shop. And I saw on the Facebook page, Bob's Tackle Shop, Maureen's Florist, all sorts of wonderful ideas. So I've had many requests to do another one, but this time we're going to have a go at this Victorian corner shop. And just before we start, I would like to say a huge thank you to all of you who came along to our Christmas festivities this week. It was horrendous weather, and I know a lot of you travelled a long way, so thank you everyone. We had a smashing time. So, shall we get on with it? So come and join me, and we'll paint this step by step together. Okay, so when I invent things, I usually like to do a quick pencil sketch first, and then map it out in more detail. Now, if you're going to draw this yourself, just be aware that the pavement here on the right won't go to the same vanishing points as it's going uphill. And this one is available to download free of charge from my website, link in the description below. Okay, so today I'm trying out this Langton board. It's made by De La Rowney, a cold press finish, and as you can see it's super thick, so definitely won't need stretching. And today's colours, well, I'm not going to tell you, because this is definitely one that you can choose all your own. But I will be using two brushes from my range, my number 12 and number 6 round. So the pen I'm starting with is a Staedtler Permanent Marker medium point, and I'm drawing in a fairly loose way, holding my pen towards the end, enabling my wrist to get a nice lot of movement. Now, this first section is filmed in real time, but the inking work took me nearly 20 minutes, so as not to bore you all, I've speeded up this by about 8 times. Now, it'd be great if I could really draw this quick. Now, as I always say with my line and washes, is to try and get some wobble and character into your line work. A really neat and sharp black line can all too easily look like a cartoon or even a technical drawing. And now I'm using a smaller 0.5 size. So next, simply rubbing out with a rubber eraser all the pencil work, but I've left my name along the top for later. So, as I said earlier, I'm not going to give you any of my colours because this is one that you can really make your own and just simply invent your own shop. So what I can say is you can be really loose with your paint, as the line will always hold it all together, and I want to add that little touch of freshness and spontaneity. So here, as always, if your washes are wet enough, you can do a lot of your mixing directly on the paper. So I'm letting this dry before painting in the walls. Number 12 brush, quick and fluid, not worrying about missing any little bits of white paper. A grey again here for all these details, as I'm trying to get that sort of etched glass effect that you see a lot in Victorian pubs and shops. Now I always think it adds a little bit of interest painting the odd paving slab in a slightly different tone. And of course, a cobbled road always adds to that vintage look. Now you'll often see these lovely old Victorian shops painted in bright colours, so I'm going to go for a sort of green and burgundy colour scheme. And I'm also trying to get all the values slightly darker on this left hand side, just to suggest a shadow side. Now I'm just adding a little bit of blue into my green for this Christmas tree here. And while I've got green on the brush, a few little details here in the window. Now for the burgundy colour. So now we need to let this totally dry. It's a perfect time for a short break. And how about a lovely hot chocolate with perhaps a Baileys chucked in for good measure? So now this is dried, I'm going back in with a darker version of the green to add that little bit of contrast and shadow. Right, so I forgot the doors here, so let's make them green too, so they look like they belong to the shop owner. That's me. So I own the apartments above too. So for these boxes I'm going to give them a cardboard type look, but please paint them in any colour you like. Few more grey details just to add a little bit more definition. And of course we need that little touch of red for that Christmassy feel. So now for the windows, and they have to be quite dark, and I'm using some Payne's grey here and overpainting the details I've already put in the windows so they all blend and merge together. Dropping in here lots of dark wet in wet. And really dark here in the door window. And I'm doing exactly the same on this side. And you can see that all these shapes and colours I've put in the windows already are just suggestive of details, art materials of some sort, and I'm just sort of blagging it really, just letting the viewer imagine what these things are. Okay, so these decorative windows all look a little bit light. Now I've put the dark windows in below, so I'm simply knocking them back with a touch of Payne's Grey. Okay, so now the colour's in and it's totally dry. I'm coming back in with my black pen and just bringing out a few lines. And here just a couple of coloured pastel pencils for some details. And of course some gooey white gouache for these touches of sparkle.
Feeling alone, kinda misty, waiting now for you to come. It's cold again, but I know we'll be warm, sitting by the fire and dream. Tell me again with a whisper, little things that I wanna hear, and the stars up above are smiling when they see you holding me so near. I see snowflakes on the chimneys, and the candles have a certain glow, a secret and a song, even church bells sing along, and the children making angels in the snow. Oh, what a gift.
So now for a bit of shop sign writing, and I've penciled it all out first. But first I just want to add a little bit more colour to the shadow side here of the buildings.
And I fall into peace and silence on a very special Christmas Eve.
Okay, so here is the tricky bit, and I'm just using some white gouache again, and I'll probably have to go over this a couple of times. Now, sign writing really was a skilled trade and something you rarely see these days. Now it's all cut vinyl and plastic letters, but I can clearly remember watching these lettering artists up ladders painting beautiful typography, usually done with one quick stroke.
Little stars up above, they are shining with love, listening to this song playing on, listening to this song playing on.
There we go, all done, and it's even looking a bit Christmassy. All we need now is a touch of snow. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, and you'll give it a go. Just make it your own, invent your own shop, and have fun. And of course, remember, the template is there if you need it. And please don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already. It is free. Leave a comment. I do read every single one. I can't reply to them all, unfortunately. And have a great week, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you all again for another Watercolour Wednesday next week. Cheers now.